tell me the property of Agni or fire, and then also tell me the properties of Pitta, and then you will see the difference. So tell me the property of fire first. Who want to answer this question?
Well, the fire is to burn, and the fire will
I'm asking about property. I'm asking about property.
Fire
function.
is hot.
Hot, right? Is there any other property to it?
Is light.
Yes, but hot is the main property, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Is bright.
Yes, and bright. And now tell me the properties of Pitta.
Heating, hot. I don't know. Property of Pitta.
Okay. So Judith, do you want to tell properties of Pitta?
Well, hot, sharp.
Yes, that's one. Yes, sharp.
Light.
What other properties? Light, yes.
Moisture, it's moisture, not dry, moist. Right?
Good. So that's the important point, which we not necessarily always will have in fire. Fire is fire.
Right.
This is a good point. This is the good point that you have brought. So it has fluidity. Anyone else want to add any other? Because I mean, we know there are properties of each dosha. So I would expect for someone to count all the properties of Pitta here.
So can I?
Yes.
Okay. So Agni, based on their properties, Agni is dry in nature. But Pitta, having water element, it has more moisture, but not as moisture compared to Kapha, but it has little moisture compared to both Agni and Pitta.
Good. That's a good point. So let me just conclude this particular point, but this is important one to understand, that is Agni and Pitta same or they are different? So just to let you know, Agni is everywhere but on its own. But Agni in the body is as Pitta. So there is no Agni separate than Pitta in our body. It is part of Pitta, and so it brings in hot quality, but then because Pitta also has water, so based on that, the quality is little bit oily, and then hot, sharp, that is also quality of Agni. And then there are two tastes, right? Bitter and sour, right? Agni does not have a taste because for taste we need water. Agni is fire on its own. Okay, so this should be clear here, that what is the difference between Agni and Pitta. Pitta is a dosha. Agni on its own cannot get disturbed, but Pitta can get disturbed in our body. It has two dosha. That's why it is called dosha. Agni is not called dosha. Pitta is called dosha. And dosha is the one that gets increased or decreased, right? So that's why this is the difference, that Pitta, we need for fire to work in the body, we need a flow medium, the fluid medium. And that brings in additional qualities in Pitta. It is fire, that's primarily, but then it has also other quality, the other element, which is water. So it brings in additional properties due to that water element, and also brings in taste. So sour taste and bitter taste. Okay, is that point clear? It's important. Sometimes you might be asked this question. Okay.
So Dr.
Yes, please go ahead.
So then is it follow that every dosha would experience Agni, but every dosha would not have the same strength of the same, would have different Pitta experience?
So when you are asking this question, are you saying every dosha means dosha type, you are saying, or
every dosha type would experience Agni, but the dosha type would not necessarily experience the same Pitta transformation?
Yes, that's one point. But also Agni, if it is increased in body, it will only give symptom of heat. But Pitta can get many other symptoms. like sour eructation,
Yes.
like bitter, feeling bitter taste,
Yes.
right? So these are the symptoms of Pitta, not of Agni.
Right. Got you. Yes.
So this is the reason that we have to know clearly the difference between Agni and Pitta, so that what we are treating, like say main treatment in terms of cleansing, what is the main treatment of Pitta in terms of cleansing? Can anyone tell me what is the main treatment of Pitta in terms of cleansing? There are different cleansing mechanisms which we have done in module, I think module 6. What is the main cleansing procedure that is focusing on Pitta?
Virachana.
Virechana, exactly. So this cleansing is focused on Pitta, not on fire.
Yes.
This is the reason that we have to understand difference between Agni and Pitta. Agni can only go down or up, right? Pitta can get vitiated because it has additional things in it, right? Okay, so Agni resides, as you can see here also written in the answer, Agni resides in Pitta and represents the heating energy of Pitta, but Agni is not Pitta because Pitta has water in it, and that's what makes it, it gives it the name Pitta. Okay. So here and in the following, you can also see the qualities: hot, dry, light, subtle, and sharp. And the elemental composition, only fire. And in digestion, represents the acidity of enzymes. So heat part is the heat part of enzymes. Now in the following, you can say qualities. So you can see here hot, moist. That's one of the quality that is additional, that comes from the water element. Okay. The elemental composition, fire and water. It represents the enzymes. Okay. So we should move on and we go into 13 types of Agni. Now this is just according to location, because the common thing in Agni is transformation. So transformation at the level of digestive system, and the organ in digestive system, what is Sanskrit term for it? In Sanskrit, the organ of digestion in the digestive system, what is Sanskrit term for it? Is called either Koshtha or Jathar. So that's why you can see there the first Agni is called Jathar Agni. Jathar means in the digestive system, or we can say Koshtha Agni. That also we can understand as Pachak Pitta. The principal Agni that resides in the lower part of stomach and small intestine, it digests all the food types and turns them into basic nutrients. All of the other Agnis depend on this. This is the main Agni. As we all know, when we ask the question, what is the function of Pitta? It's digestion and metabolism. It all starts here. Even if our tissue metabolism is good, but if this goes down for some reason, then even tissues will not be nourished properly. Right? So you can see here, this is the most important, this is the root Agni. It digests all the food types and turns them into basic nutrients. All the other Agnis depend on this. Okay. Now we say Bhuta Agnis. As we know, because we explain in Ayurveda that everything is made up of 5 elements. So that means the food we are eating is also have 5 elements. So which means that, and each element is different. Each element is unique. So that means we have to have fire to be able to break down each element. So now we have Bhuta Agni. Bhut means 5 elements. Bhut means element. And Agni means Agni that digests each element. So there are 5 types of Agnis to break down and convert. We can say these Bhuta Agnis or 5 elements are in form of carbohydrates, fats, proteins. We can understand these things also as more earth. So like meat and all those things, they are more earthy. So the Agni that will be needed to break down that has to be specifically properties to break down earth element. So like that, we have 5 kinds of Agnis. The Bhuta Agnis convert Panch Mahabhutas. Panch means 5. Mahabhuta means elements from the food, water, air into Panch Mahabhutas into body. Each has its own Agni. So Parthiv Agni means fire that breaks down earth element. Up Agni, fire that breaks down water element. Tej Agni, fire that nourishes fire. Vayu Agni, the air elements, and Akash Agni, space elements. Okay, so these are 5 Bhuta Agnis. Now what happens? So now it is already, the food is broken down, each specific elements are broken down. Now it gets absorbed and it is circulating, what Michelle was saying, ahara rasa. So this is this, at this stage, the complete digestion completed in the gut. Now it is going into the body, and this stage, the food element digested, liquid form is called ahar, means food, and rasa means fluid. Now it is absorbed, and now the 7 tissues will be formed. And tissues, the Sanskrit term for tissues, what is the Sanskrit term for tissue in Ayurveda?
Dhatus.
Dhatu. So then we have each dhatu, each tissue is different. So we have to have a specific transforming element or transforming Agni from this ahara rasa. The plasma need to form, blood cells need to form, muscle tissue need to form. So that means elements from in this ahara rasa, now they need to be converted into each tissue. So we have to have Agni for each tissue. So we have Dhatu Agni. Selectively takes the respective Mahabhutas and creates the more Dhatus and maintains their balanced state. So you can see here in this particular part, Rasa Dhatu Agni. So Agni that helps to take the elements and convert into Rasa Dhatu, then Rakta Dhatu, then Mamsa Dhatu, then Meda Dhatu, like that. Okay. So is this question clear to everyone? Good. Shall we move on?
Dr. Gupta,
Yes, yes.
so sorry, I just have 2 questions.
Mhm.
First one is, so bringing it back to Sanam's beautiful distinction between Agni and Pitta. So is it Pitta, the intelligence of Pitta, that even governs the Dhatu Agnis as well? So like is it the Pitta dosha that kind of it's that intelligence that allows for the Dhatu Agnis to do their job? Am I making sense when I'm asking that question?
Yes. The only thing is, it is what term we are using. But at the level of each dhatu, it is the pitta.
Okay.
Specific pitta in each dhatu. But for understanding the transforming function, we don't have a specific name as pitta. So like rakta dhatu pitta, mans dhatu pitta, no. Because pitta is mainly because of the flowing character. So that's why we don't have specific. The only difference is how much powerful or how much less powerful, less intense each Agni would be. So obviously the Agni for Rasa Dhatu would have lesser intensity compared to the one that will make the bones. Right? So that's the intensity will be different. The intensity of Agni or fire element will be different in each one of them.
Okay.
Right? And it will be specific because the Agni of Rasa Dhatu will not be able to form the Asti Dhatu or the bone tissue. Right? So that means there is a specific, in modern terms, we can understand specific enzyme, a specific tissue enzyme. So for bone, there is a specific tissue enzyme. For fat, there is a specific tissue enzyme. For mams, there is a specific tissue enzyme, right? So each tissue has their own specific enzymes, and we can call them as Rasa Agni, Rakta Agni, but we don't have a name as Pitta, like Rasa Pitta, Rakta Pitta. We don't have that. That's not described anywhere in Ayurvedic text. It's more on the Agni, with the Agni name. Okay.
Thank you.
Does
And
that
thank
answer
you
your
so
question?
much for clarifying.
Yeah.
Yes,
What
thank
is-
you so much.
What is your second question?
So when we distinguish between Agni and Pitta, when we are looking at investigating and talking to our whoever we're chatting with to try and help them, is that where we would distinguish between kindling the digestive fire or getting rid of Ama? Whereas kindling the digestive fire, we'd be more focused on Agni,
Correct.
like a low Agni or too high Agni.
Correct.
Versus
Correct.
if it's a Pitta imbalance, there would be more Ama, and we would be focusing more on clearing the Ama while
Correct.
still
Correct.
kindling the digestive fire.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So
Thank you.
so from clinical point of view, everything to do with appetite is Agni, and everything to do with all other symptoms is Pitta.
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
Yeah.
So say if someone says I don't have good appetite, we can give ginger or some other spices, and that's it. But we don't have particular any cleaning procedure, cleansing procedure for that, and we don't need that. But for Pitta, we do need cleansing procedures.